What's up? It's very, very early in the morning. Um, AOE changes. I've just watched a couple of videos, and King of Games, he's hilarious. The video he's ranting about AOE changes. Now, you know, sorry for my husky morning voice, essentially. I just got up and I thought, I'll make a video about it, talking about it, because a week or so ago I made a video on why you should play ESO with the new stuff coming out and stuff like that. And as soon as I take that video, put that video out, there's patch notes for AOE changes, and it's like, oh my, god, what do we do? Alright, so I'm just gonna talk in general here and share my real thoughts on AOE changes. Again, I'd sound a lot better, but it's early in the morning and I just want to get this video out. In the background there's just gameplay of Stam DK and Battlegrounds, nothing crazy. So, first thing, right? One of the proposed changes is the 3-second cooldown globally. 200 skills in total from all the classes will have separate cooldowns for each week of their testing. I think they're testing this month or next, I don't know. I think it's this month, 24th. And it gradually eases up, so it goes from 3 seconds, then there's a I think there's a global cooldown delay. Look, I'm sorry, it's early in the morning, I don't know the specifics, but basically the first one's going to be 3 seconds for everyone. So when you cast an ability that gets an AoE check, you won't be able to cast any AoE ability, right? And the other one they propose is when you cast that particular ability, you won't be able to cast that ability for 3 seconds. Or they have another one where it's similar to Streak, where you streak and then it costs more to streak the next turn. Same with dodging. When stamina classes dodge, there's an increased cost. So all of this stuff, it's just, from my perspective, just my initial perspective from it, I was thinking, finally, because when I first read it, just from the thought of them fixing Cyrodiil, that was my first thought and interest, right? They were like, we're fixing Cyrodiil, we're trying to get rid of the lag. My first thought was, thank goodness, it's been so long, so long. I haven't stepped into Cyrodiil in years. I have no interest in it. The lag, the bullshit that comes with being in Cyrodiil, your abilities, loading screens, the fights, horrible. It's been the worst experience, this game. This is the game's worst thing, in my opinion. It's the worst thing in the game, Cyrodiil. And with the addition to Battlegrounds, it was my saving grace for this game, because I was literally done with Cyrodiil and PvP in this game. I'd go into Imperial City where it was less laggy, and ball groups and all the other BS that comes with Cyrodiil, but even then on prime time it got laggy and ball groups went in. It's just the way it is. I'm not complaining about ball groups, I'm just saying even with ball groups you can't play the freaking game because it's laggy and it's horrible, and it's just, you just don't want to. Why would you want to play a game like that? Your abilities don't work and stuff. It's crazy. So I had no interest in Cyrodiil for, I'd say, 5 years now, and I've only ever done Battlegrounds, right? And Battlegrounds is again the saving grace. I love Battlegrounds. Action's right there. You don't have to run to Somalia, or you don't have to run far distance to get a fight or get a part of the action. And it's, I'm having a rant about Cyrodiil. This is supposed to be about AOE testing, so I'm just going to rein it back a little bit. So yeah, my thoughts were like, great, they're going to fix the lag and I can finally go into Cyrodiil and have a Cyrodiil experience. That was my first thought. But then I actually started to comprehend like the abilities that they're putting cooldown on absolutely destroys most classes. It destroys most classes. I mean, Templars. Goodbye. Have a good time. It it's it's done. If you are a Magicka Templar, even Stamina Templar, you're finished. Biting jabs. What you gonna jab? Who you biting? Who you biting? Who you gonna jab? Because you only got 3 seconds. You can only press that thing once, and then you have to wait. You can't even use your other abilities. Some of your other abilities that are AOE are in that list of 200. You can't even use that. So you're done. Bye bye. See you later. You can't cleanse. Can't use Breath of Light. See ya. This is hilarious. And then the recent one, I actually enjoy this one. Sorc Shields, Hardened Ward. Now, look, I hate Sorcs, and I hate the playstyle of Sorcs, and I'm about to beat this Sorc's ass because he fucked me up before. So this is perfect timing. I hate the steel shield stacking playstyle Sorcs have, but it's just the class, right? I don't complain about it. I play Sorc, and I get really bored of playing Sorc, but even they have said Sorc's AoE, Hardened Ward, that's a self buff, is AoE checked, or it's an AoE ability, so therefore, it's going to be affected by the 3 second, and that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't, logically, when you think about it, it's a buff for myself, shield for myself, nobody else. Or the pet, the other morph, you give a shield to the pet. I think, the logic implies that that is not an AoE ability, but, it's probably technical when it comes to the servers, and, they say something around server checks, ping, stuff like that. Okay, so that might be it, but it's getting to a point now where it's ridiculous. A lot of YouTubers that play ESO, PS4, and PC, some of them are coming out and outright said this is the worst thing ever. It's terrible, and I can see that perspective because classes are gonna get butchered. Magden, butchered. MagDK, butchered. Stamplar, Mag Magplar, butchered. Like, there's so many classes are gonna get butchered from this, and it's gonna change how the game is played. One of the huge positives about this game is that the play, the fighting style, the abilities, the combat system is really unique, fluid, really good, really nice, feels nice, especially once you've mastered it, or when you get really good at it, it's very rewarding, right? So when you change the fundamentals of that, it puts a bad taste in people's mouths who have been playing a game for years, right? A new player comes into the game, they won't know the difference because they've not had that experience. But for 6 odd years now, veteran players have been mastering and getting better at this combat system, and you're opposing to change it into what seems to be a turn-based style MMO. And we don't play this game for turn-based. This game is unique because it's action-based. It's responsive when there's no lag in it. The abilities actually work. But that's the enjoyment of this combat system, and it's getting to a point now where at first I was like, yeah, go on, fix Cyrodiil, it's about time. But if you fix Cyrodiil on the lag, and let's be honest, there's no amount of 3 second cooldown nothing will fix Cyrodiil. It has to be like a structural infrastructure, adding more servers, changing servers, whatever. But these 3 second cooldowns, I beg to differ that they're going to make a huge difference on the lag. So, back to my original point. At first it was like, yeah, great, fix Cyrodiil, finally go in there, enjoy that experience, but at the cost of destroying the whole ethos of the game in terms of the combat system, fluidity, freedom. Now, I'm just going to say this because it's absolutely true, but the reason why it's got to a point, I think it's Rich Lambert who came out with a letter and said, gave a breakdown, a summary of what's happened over the years and why the lag's gone the way it has. Now that's BS. It's BS. Let's just be plain and simple. This is not me attacking him personally. I think it's BS. Let me tell you why it's BS. If you're gonna make a game that function in a way where you can spam your abilities unlimited, and you understand the strain, and you're adding sets, you're adding sustain sets, you're adding proc sets. You know, at one point there was more people. The cap for Cyrodiil was a lot higher than it is now. So you've seen this. Maybe I can give you a little bit of leeway and say, you know, the first year or two of the launch, you didn't expect the server to take so much strain from all these abilities and players adapting, right? Okay, that's great. Now, from that 1-2 year point, you know, there has to be some sort of consensus with developers producing a game and developing a game and thinking, right, this is crazy, and the end point of this is just going to lead to bad service, bad servers. You know, it's going to be terrible quality wise. At some point, there had to have been a consensus, and there had to have been a conversation of, right, how do we nip it in the bud now, or how do we stop this, or, you know, implement something that will reduce the lag, or how do we do something about, you know, so it doesn't get to the point where we are now. You know, there's nothing technical about what I just said there, but what I'm trying to say is, are those conversations being had from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when they started to see real problems in Cyrodiil, the lag abilities, and, you know, were the conversations had, and was there an opportunity at those points to implement something that would reduce the lag, improve the quality? I certainly think there was. Now, whether it was on the agenda to, or whether it was you know, politics everywhere, whether it was politics, or maybe there was a focus on just PvE, or just whatever it was, right? It just wasn't prioritized in any way or fashion. And now we're in a situation where the game has to change fundamentally, because actually I think personally, ZeniMax, ZOS, I think they're at a point where they're embarrassed, right? And for all the great things I said about the game, you know, getting back into the game, and all of this, which is absolutely true, the PvE content in this game and the actual substance you get from the game for what you pay for, it is true. It's really good. But I think they're at a point where the game's getting more, you know, more people are looking into the game. You've got big streamers like Shroud, Summit looking into the game, and, you know, the game is slowly growing in popularity still, and I think, you know, it's an embarrassment from their side, where people are coming in and saying, what the hell are you guys doing? It's 2020. Like it's an embarrassing state right now. It's 2020, and you've got servers that perform like this. You know, that's probably the thought process, and that's why they've just probably thought, fuck it, let's just fundamentally change the way the game's played, get rid of the lag, so, you know, people don't laugh at us anymore. You know, that's never the answer. That's never the approach. You know, hindsight, something should have been done a lot earlier, a lot sooner. But I think these changes will certainly either kill the game, or maybe add an interesting dynamic, only if they actually rework all 200 abilities. And I genuinely think they do not have the resources to do those changes immediately. That would be over a 5-year spell or something. Anyways, the video ending, there's so much more to talk about, but those are just my initial thoughts on the AoE changes. Let's see. They say it's a test, but I'm just gonna get my Nightblade snipe out. You know, fuck it, I'm rolling in Cyrodiil like that. Peace.
かもしれないだろう、うん、ありがとう俺は俺の足で歩く 綺麗な靴また汚しまくるシューレース外すエアフォースワン